Welcome to another episode of Extreme Expat Stories of Thailand. Hi, I'm writing this as one of your now thoroughly humbled subscribers. My brother, let's call him Dave, and I are long overdue for an update on our recent Thai adventure, which started as an escape from heartbreak and ended up being the wildest comedy of errors we could imagine. We both flew into Bangkok in 2025, battered from divorces and nursing open wounds, and somehow managed to fall head over heels for the same woman. It wasn't until after both of us had become very intimate with her that the whole truth came out. She wasn't just another lovely Thai lady, but a lady boy. Let me back up and set the stage. Both Dave and I were in our late 30s, freshly single after our long marriages, and frankly, feeling pretty sorry for ourselves. In our cases, each of our wives had cheated on us with younger men, a twist we never saw coming. It turns out infidelity is a shockingly common cause of divorce. One study found that about 31.3% of divorced couples said infidelity was a cause of their split. Ouch. We both were those guys now, dumped, bitter, and eager for a reset. Our heartbreak wasn't just your run of the mill, we grew apart story. Both Dave and I had invested everything in our marriages. Over 15 years each of anniversaries, mortgage payments, promises, and what we thought was a genuine love. My ex-wife, Sarah, had been my college sweetheart. We built a life together in suburban Ohio. A three-bedroom house with a two-car garage, a golden retriever named Biscuit, and weekend barbecues with the neighbors. Dave's situation in Pennsylvania was remarkably similar. His ex, Jennifer, had been his high school girlfriend. They had two kids together, both in middle school when everything fell apart. The betrayals came within months of each other. Sarah left me for a 26-year-old personal trainer at her gym. Dave's wife ran off with their kid's soccer coach, a dude barely past his own college years who drove a beat-up Mustang. The shame was crushing. After 15 plus years of marriage apiece, both our wives left us for much younger guys. We shared a laugh cry about it later. Our wives each seemed to have a midlife affair. It wasn't just bitterness talking. Almost one-third of divorces cite infidelity. So sadly, it tracks. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Lawyers, asset division, the awkward conversations with friends who didn't know whose side to take. We spent countless hours on the phone with each other, sometimes just breathing into the receiver because we couldn't find words for the pain. Seeking escape, angry and ashamed. We knew we needed an overhaul of life. I started reading on Reddit about other Americans and how they travel to find some kind of way out of their situation. An American expat recently wrote that after 18 years of marriage and a divorce, he suddenly started actively thinking about where he wanted to live, which resonated with us. We figured, screw it, let's actually do something for ourselves. The idea came during a particularly depressing Thanksgiving at our mom's house. After dinner, Dave and I escaped to the back porch with a bottle of whiskey. "We need to get out of here," Dave said, staring at the November frost on the lawn. "Like, out of mom's house?" I asked. "No, man, out of here. Out of America. Out of this whole sad sack life we're living." That's when we started talking seriously about leaving. We'd both always been the responsible ones. Steady jobs, mortgages, retirement accounts. But where had that gotten us? Divorce, miserable, and eating turkey with our mom while our exes posted happy couple photos on social media with guys half our age. Why Thailand? We had always fantasized about Asia's exotic beaches and open minded culture. By 2025, Thailand is home to roughly 2 million expats, a mix of retirees, backpackers, and digital nomads escaping the stresses of life elsewhere. Crucially, living in Thailand is super cheap and comfortable. Studies note its affordable cost of living, warm climate, and attractive lifestyle, drawing foreigners. In short, Thailand seemed like the perfect place to drown our sorrows in tasty street food and cheap beer, and maybe find a little new romance. We spent weeks researching. I had some money from the divorce settlement. Dave had sold his share of a small business. We watched YouTube videos about expat life, read blog posts from digital nomads, and convinced ourselves this was the fresh start we needed. The plan was simple: fly to Bangkok, rent a cheap apartment, and just exist for a while. Spoiler alert, the no pressure to date part lasted approximately 18 hours. So, with our pride and savings dented but passports in hand, we set off to Bangkok. The flight over was long, nearly 24 hours with a layover in Tokyo. We drank overpriced airport beer and made jokes about becoming those creepy old expats you see in documentaries. We laughed, but there was an edge to it. We were definitely running away from something, even if we dressed it up as an adventure. Bangkok's skyline in 2025 was as dazzling as we remembered from our college days of travel. Gleaming condos and temples mixed under neon lights. A reminder why nearly 2 million foreigners now call Thailand home. In fact, this city has everything from $3 street pad thai to world-class sky bars. The low cost of living and tropical vibe that had lured generations of expats and even digital nomads were exactly what we needed now. We could live comfortably on just a few $1,000s a month, with easy access to modern healthcare, things we read about long before we booked our tickets. One article even noted Thailand is a favorite among expats because you can enjoy city life or beaches for far less than back home. Landing at night was surreal. The humidity hit us like a wall. We grabbed a taxi to our guest house in Sukhumvit, a modest three-story building squeezed between a 7-Eleven and a massage parlor. The room was basic, but clean. Two twin beds, a questionable shower, and a balcony overlooking a narrow alley that buzzed with activity even at 11 p.m. We really did it, I said. Yeah, Dave grinned. We really did. On our first night, we plunged into the nightlife. We hit the famous neon-soaked streets in Sukhumvit and Ceylon. Turns out there's a reason Bangkok's reputation as a sex tourism capital developed. Everything is out in the open, from massage parlors to bars. A travel writer once observed that Bangkok's bar scene makes even an old man go to bed with a beautiful 20-year-old girl. We chuckled over that quote. It captured the fantasy so many foreign men have here. In reality, we just wanted casual fun to numb the pain. Walking those streets for the first time was overwhelming and exciting. Everywhere we looked, there were bars with names like Lolitas and Sugar Baby. Women in tight dresses called out, "Hey handsome, you want massage?" We ducked into a few bars, nursing beers and trying to look like we knew what we were doing. The truth was we were completely out of our element. That night, we strolled down to the Chao Phraya River and even paid a quick visit to Wat Arun, the famous Temple of Dawn. We thought a little make merit might bring good luck, or at least distract us. The temple towers gleamed in the early evening light. For a moment, the humbling beauty of it all even made us forget our troubles. But soon enough, curiosity and the open-air bar across the street pulled us toward our real target, meeting someone, anyone, who might make us feel alive again. Standing in front of Wat Arun, I felt a weird mix of emotions. Dave put his hand on my shoulder and said, "This is either the best idea we've ever had or the worst." "Probably both," I replied. By late evening, we ended up in Nana Plaza, Bangkok's notorious nightlife complex. Picture a narrow alley filled with neon signs and music, exactly like the photo above of the balcony bar entryway, except it was pitch dark and pulsing. We sat down in a dimly lit balcony bar just for the novelty, each nursing cheap Chang beer. Nana Plaza is 3 stories of bars arranged in a horseshoe shape. The balcony bar was on a second floor with an open air view of the whole complex. We could see everything: the comings and goings of tourists, the working girls in colorful dresses, the whole circus of Bangkok nightlife. We'd been there maybe 20 minutes when she walked in. Then she walked in, tall, elegant, with luminous skin and long dark hair. She moved with a confidence that turned heads. She smiled as she passed, eyes locking with mine, or at least Dave's. We don't admit who grabbed her attention first. Her name was Pim, as we found out later. Pim said she was originally from Chiang Mai, but moved to Bangkok to work as a waitress. We couldn't believe our luck. After so many lousy online dates and heartbreaks, we had actually met someone genuine and kind here. Pim was stunning. She wore a simple black dress that hugged her figure, with glossy waves of hair cascading down her back. She had this way of moving that was almost feline, graceful, and deliberate. When she caught us staring, she smiled and walked over to our table, pulling out a chair without asking. "You boys look lost," she said in English with a slight accent. Dave recovered first. "We're new in town, just checking out the scene." "Checking out or checking me out?" Pim teased, and we both laughed nervously. Over the next hour, we took turns chatting with her, me buying her a drink, then Dave stepping in with some lame cheers toast. Pim was easy to talk to, sweet and surprisingly witty. She joked about the crazy bar scene and asked what had brought 2 big foreign guys to Thailand. We spun our tales, divorced guys looking to start over, craving adventure. We all laughed. Pim showed us some Thai sentences on her phone, and we tried saying funny phrases back. She taught us to say "Sawadee krab," hello, and "Swai mak," very beautiful, which we immediately used to compliment her, making her laugh. When I tried to say "Mai Penrai," no worries, I accidentally said something that means new burn rice, which Pim found hilarious. Neither of us was smooth. We each had our turn bumbling our compliments. I complimented her dress and she giggled. Dave, a better talker, coaxed a few smiles. The alcohol helped loosen us up. For a few hours, it felt like our troubles were miles away. In hindsight, we should have noticed Pim never drank. She sipped cola all night. By 2 a.m., the bar was closing, but we didn't want the fun to end. Right before closing, Pim looked at both of us and said, "You two are sweet, not like most Farang foreigners here." She gave us each her number, separately, we later realized, and said she'd love to hang out again. We paid the bill and floated out of Nana Plaza on a cloud of beer and hope. The next part gets embarrassing. We had both fallen for Pim, big time, but neither of us knew the other had. In our eyes, each of us had found the one. After the bar closed, I took her hand and said I'd walk her home. A few minutes later, Dave slipped a piece of paper with his number into her jacket pocket as a parting gesture. We parted ways, with high fives all around, and passed out in our respective guest house beds. Here's where it gets off the rails. The very next day, we separately arranged to see her again. I got a text from a smiling Asian face saying, "It's Pim. Thank you for the fun night. At almost the same time, Dave got the exact same text. Both of us got invites for lunch with Pim at a cafe. Neither of us let on to the other that we were invited. Each of us individually met Pim and had a great afternoon. My lunch with Pim was at a little Thai restaurant near Asok Station. We ordered pad thai and green curry, and she taught me how to use chopsticks properly. We talked about everything: her childhood in Chiang Mai, her dreams of opening her own restaurant, my failed marriage. When I got emotional talking about Sarah's betrayal, Pim reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You deserve better, she said. In that moment, I felt seen in a way I hadn't in years. After lunch, we walked around the neighborhood. Pim pointed things out, told me stories about Thai culture, made me laugh. By evening, we were back at her apartment, a small studio in a high-rise building. One thing led to another, and, well, let's just say I thought I'd found paradise. Dave was having his own lunch date at a different restaurant. He later told me it went almost exactly the same way. Great conversation, walking around the city, back to her place. By evening, we were smug as punch. Dave swaggered back to our room. Man, she is amazing. Sweetest girl I ever met, he said. I grinned. You're not kidding, bro. I've never had more genuine attention from a woman. Over the dinner of cheap pad thai, we each described Pim in full dark hair, sparkling brown eyes, wiry frame. Then came the weird part. I mentioned casually. So I kinda spent the night with her. Dave blanched, nearly choking on his noodles. What? You did too? I literally just finished. Holy crap, man. The color drained from Dave's face. He put down his fork and stared at me. What did you say? He asked quietly. I spent the afternoon with someone. Met up for lunch and where? Near Asok Station. Why? Dave pulled out his phone and showed me a selfie. There was Pim, smiling at the camera, with Dave's arm around her shoulders. My stomach dropped. When was this taken? About 4 hours ago. We stared, mouths agape. It took a moment to piece together. The same woman. We've been competing without realizing it. My anger flared instantly. She lied to both of us. But Dave held up a hand. Wait, slow down. Let's think this through. We each had photos of her on our phones. We'd taken selfies to prove we got a date. We swapped pics. Exact same person. Then Dave said something that made my stomach drop. Dude, there's something about her chest. It isn't quite like mine. I froze. What do you mean? He turned his phone around to show her smiling face. Looking carefully, I saw it too. Slight horizontal scars under her arms. A faint brace under her bra line. My heart plummeted. Bro, I croaked. Wait, you think what I'm thinking? We Googled on the spot. It was no secret in Thailand. There are thousands of transgender women. Katwe in Thai, often called ladyboys in English. I found a quick definition. Katwe, commonly translated as ladyboys, is a term used by those assigned male at birth who present as feminine. The Google results came fast. Articles about Thailand's acceptance of transgender people, photos of famous Katoi performers, explanations of gender identity. There were medical articles about reassignment surgery, cultural pieces about the third gender, even travel guides warning tourists. Neither of us could speak Thai well, but suddenly everything made sense. Pim had jokingly corrected my Thai grammar. I thought that was charming. Maybe she was just a smart language person. But the bigger clue was the night before. I remember something, hazy in the moment when I hugged her goodnight. I felt something, a slight firmness that confused me then. Dave was scrolling through his photos. The hands, he said, Look at the hands. They're bigger than you'd expect. He was right. In every photo, Pim's hands were noticeably large, with long fingers, and her height, she was nearly 6 feet tall, taller than many Thai women. Her voice, while feminine, had a slightly deeper quality. The Adam's apple was subtle but visible in profile shots. As we compared notes, the final picture formed. Pim had been honest, in her way, but she never said. I'm a woman, but she never lied either. In Thailand, it's common enough that many foreigners even specifically seek out ladyboys. One study notes Thai trans women often view Western men as more caring partners than Thai men. Well, maybe she thought we were open-minded. We finally confronted the issue in tones that were equal parts horror and awkward humor. So you knew, right? Dave asked. I admitted I hadn't until just now. Dave shrugged sheepishly. I had my suspicions, but guess neither of us noticed the obvious. We did eventually have a conversation with Pim over video call. We tried to explain that we weren't angry, just surprised. Pim laughed it off. I thought you knew, she said. Most Farang who come to Nana Plaza know about Katoy. I thought you were okay with it. It was a fair point. We'd wandered into one of Bangkok's most famous nightlife districts without doing our homework. In the end, Dave and I spent the rest of the trip as good buddies again. We even joked that in some cosmic way this proved our bromance was stronger than a Hollywood plot twist. Before leaving Bangkok, we did one more ritual. Lit candles at Wat Arun for future happiness. Maybe not together, but separately. Laughing that, this time, give us real girls, Buddha. We extended our trip by another 2 weeks. This time, we stayed away from the bar scene and focused on actually experiencing Thailand. We took a cooking class, visited the Grand Palace, took a weekend trip to Ayutthaya to see the ancient ruins. We even did a meditation retreat at a wat outside the city, sitting in silence for 3 days trying to process everything. Those 2 weeks changed us. We stopped running from our pain and started dealing with it. We talked about our marriages honestly, not just the betrayals, but our own roles and what had gone wrong. We admitted we'd been absent husbands, too focused on work, too comfortable. The affairs were wrong, but maybe the marriages had been dying long before. Looking back, our tale is absolutely bizarre and not as unheard of as you might think. Thailand's nightlife is famous for ladyboys, so it's so common that they even have the world-famous cabaret shows celebrating them. An academic study even knows Thailand is often marketed as a tourist gay paradise, and cross-gender romances are quite commonplace here. In other words, foreigners frequently encounter Thailand's third gender in real life, not just in shows or jokes. We learned a few things the hard way. Never assume. In Bangkok, manners and appearances can defy expectations. We had this notion in our heads of the perfect tropical girlfriend, but Thailand can surprise you. As funny as it sounds, our situation wasn't malicious. No one was tricked. Just taught a lesson in humility. Respect all people. Pim never did anything dirty, and she had a right to her identity. Once we cooled off, we realized she probably wasn't malicious at all. Thai society is actually quite accepting of Katoy, even if Westerners sometimes misunderstand. We felt pretty bad that we'd taken advantage of someone just to alleviate our loneliness without fully knowing them. Do your research. If we'd spent even 5 minutes reading about Bangkok's nightlife before diving in, we would have known what to expect. There are countless blog posts, YouTube videos, and travel guides that explain the reality. Our ignorance was our own fault. Heal before you date. Dave and I weren't ready for new relationships. We were still raw from our divorces, still angry at our exes, still trying to prove something to ourselves. We should have spent time working on ourselves before looking for validation from someone else. Expat reality. We also experienced firsthand why Thailand appeals to broken souls. As we read and research in expat blogs, lots of divorced or retired guys come here and end up in unique situations. The low cost of life helps you heal. One expat said he and his new wife live well on just $3,000 a month here. That's unbelievable back home, and it was a real comfort knowing our wallets could stretch. The economic aspect really is significant. Back home, our money was constantly tight. In Bangkok, we rented a nice apartment for $600 a month, ate incredible food for $2 to $5 per meal, and never worried about bills. It gave us breathing room to actually think about our lives instead of just surviving them. We also discovered that Thailand has a large community of expats who've been through similar life changes. We met people from Australia, England, Germany, Japan, and Brazil who'd chosen Thailand as their base. Everyone had a story of escape, reinvention, or simply wanting something different from life. We'll always remember Bangkok as the place of that ultimate brotherly facepalm. When I tell our story now, people either laugh hysterically or shake their heads in disbelief. Either way, it makes for a great share on your channel. Honestly, it's so crazy it needs to be on YouTube. Dave and I are back in the States now. He's in Pennsylvania again, closer to his kids, and I'm in Nashville. We talk every week and we're planning another trip, maybe to Vietnam or Japan next time. We've both started dating again, but we're taking it slow. The funny thing is, the PIM incident became the best thing that could have happened to us. It shocked us out of our self-pity, made us laugh at ourselves, and reminded us that the world is bigger and stranger than we'd imagined. It also brought Dave and me closer together. We've been drifting apart before the divorces. Now we're genuinely close again. I sometimes wonder about Pim. Is she still in Bangkok? Did she move back to Chiang Mai? Is she happy? I hope so. She gave us an unexpected gift, the ability to laugh at ourselves and see our prejudices clearly. We went to Thailand looking for a fantasy, the perfect, subservient Asian girlfriend who'd make us forget our failures. Instead, we found a smart, funny person who saw right through us and gave us exactly what we needed, a reality check. There's a Buddhist concept we learn about, dukkha, which roughly translates to suffering or dissatisfaction. The idea is that suffering comes from attachment and expectation. Dave and I had been suffering because we couldn't accept our divorces, couldn't let go of our old lives, couldn't see ourselves clearly. Pim forced us to let go, not in a gentle, spiritual way, but in a laugh until you cry, what the hell just happened kind of way. Anyway, thanks for letting me unload this saga. Hopefully other travelers find a laugh and a cautionary tale in our misadventure. We did survive to tell the tale, and somehow came back as better friends. Oddly enough, if you ever come across a story like this, send them our way. We're proof that stranger things happen in Thailand. The world is weird and wonderful and full of surprises. Sometimes the best adventures are the ones that don't go according to plan. Sometimes the best lessons are the ones that make you cringe with embarrassment. And sometimes the best therapy is a brother who laughs with you instead of at you when you realize you both slept with the same ladyboy in Thailand. Life's too short to take yourself too seriously. That's what Thailand taught us. Cheers, Tommy. P.S. Dave says I have to mention that he figured it out first. I maintain I was just being polite and not asking questions. Either way, we were both idiots. Feel free to use this story however you want.